All right, you were saying? Great. Anyway.
Shut up! You see? That's another thing.
What is going on, ladies?
Do your thing.
All right, what is going on, ladies and gents? You're watching Emeroy TV or Vision Paradox TV, and this is a slightly different format from my typical interviews. This is a little bit more of a roundtable chat, no specific questions, but this one's a little bit more free, where we get to talk about certain things, and you just happen to be in the middle of our conversation. I'm dubbing this Antics with Antics because we are with my crewmates from Antics. # redundancy. So
Yeah, that was like 4 antics in one sentence.
But anyways, before we even get into this conversation, I'm going to go around real quick, introduce yourselves, and a little bit about you before we get into the conversation. Gill, since you're to my right, get started.
Yo, what up? This is B-Boy Guillotine from the Concrete All-Stars, also known as Hans, the Han Soloist, professional breakdancer, B-Boy, and also graffiti artist, muralist, educator, cultural ambassador, and I bake crepes.
I'm sorry. Why did you have to do that? I was trying to hold it.
No, I was just kidding. I don't actually bake crepes, but I do make a mean stir fry, and that's real talk.
So
I was thinking, can crepes be baked?
So that like threw off my
Yeah, that's why I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Sorry. That was a good intro. I'm Kassy. I am also a member of Antics. I am a dancer, choreographer, creative director, teaching artist, Afro Vibe ambassador, and human being, Taurus, with a Gemini ascending sign and a Sagittarius moon sign. And I love the park nature.
Okay.
Kidding. Don't worry about the rest of that stuff.
All right. So I guess the first thing I want to talk about is we're all from Cali, right? Well, how are you guys enjoying the weather? We're in Moline, Illinois right now. So how are you guys
My
enjoying
new
everything right now? Like, we're talking about the weather, folks.
Yo, it is as cold as deep space. If you watch Infinity Wars, there's a part where they throw the guy.
I just watched it.
Yo, so you know what I'm talking about? When they throw the guy off the spaceship and he's looking back at them and he's like, he's like freezing while you look at him. That's basically how cold it is here. Like, I went out last night, walked across the street to go to the pub, just across the street, just to get a beer, because we've been here all day and all night. You know what I mean? You gotta just, and me, I'm that type of person. I always gotta like see how it feels, you know? So when I walked back from that pub, I think it was like -9, -10, and I felt my whole body like going like this, like, and so it scared me. Like, I got short of breath. Like, it literally like made me scared, and I just ran back inside. And it's that cold that's so cold. Even after you come inside, you feel it inside your body. Like, it penetrates the core of your being. It's crazy.
How about you, Cass? How are you dealing with this weather?
So yeah, speaking about that, this morning we woke up super early and we saw a guy throwing water.
Oh yeah.
Turning it into powder, and so we attempted it, and we did it 3 times total. That was the max I was gonna do it. But afterwards, I felt my toes getting numb, and we were literally out there probably like 40 seconds, 30 seconds, 25 seconds, and it took me a while. So right now I have hand warmers in my socks right now, just to make sure, because even now you can feel the cold like seeping in, and it's freezing. We're just really composed right now.
Yeah.
We're professional movers, so we're moving so fast and shivering.
Like
you
Flash.
can't even tell.
However, it's very important, you know, because we're dancers, we're here to do gigs and do shows, or we teach kids, and we have to dance impressively. So it's very important to maintain your physical fitness and your range of motion. So that's kind of a cool thing about out here and being in this polar vortex is like, I'm discovering ways to train while we're out here.
Yes.
It's pretty amazing. I'm actually going to do a little polar vortex challenge a little later today. And what I'm going to do is actually, it's an ancient technique that's been used by many cultures, such as the Scandinavians, the Japanese. And what you do is you sit in a hot tub, and then you jump out in the freezing cold air and you roll around in the snow, right? And so then you can get back in the hot tub so you don't freeze to death. But what that does is it stimulates the circulation in your whole body, so it makes you like heal up faster. It makes you super strong. If you look at a lot of professional athletes nowadays, they're paying thousands, like probably tens of thousands of dollars for cryotherapy.
Yeah.
Yep. Like Floyd Mayweather is one of the really famous ones. Before he beat the crap out of Conor McGregor, he was doing cryotherapy to help him recover. And a lot of people are doing this. It's a new thing, and it's not a new thing. It's an ancient technique, and I'm gonna do similar to an original version here in Moline,
Stony
in
Creek.
the polar vortex, because I'm a sav like
Man, I
that.
kind of want to try it now.
Do it, baby.
I told him I was gonna try, but I don't know.
I don't have any proper swim gear. I just
Now that I
I'll
saw
give you
the
some
water,
shorts.
that's why I bought
Also,
the
they
tank
got
top and
shorts right there in
shorts.
the lobby.
Dude, oh
Then they got women's swimsuits as well.
Really?
ooh,
Right there in the lobby.
Oh, because I bought the tank top and the shorts.
no excuses now.
Yeah.
We have to do it.
That's what
now.
I'm saying. I did it yesterday. I swam out and I didn't get out of the pool because I was just that we did shows yesterday. I was just feeling kind of tired. I didn't want to go full sav, but I just swam out and stood up. So the pool goes up to here, and it makes you feel so good, bro. It's so invigorating. Like it makes you feel like Superman. It's crazy.
So, Chili, pool, outside, hot tub.
No,
He did hot tub first.
Get
Hot
warmed
tub.
up.
Yeah.
Then get in the pool because our pool is dope. It goes indoors to outdoors. You can swim outside inside the pool. So
It
you
is
get in the
really
hot tub, you get warmed up to where you're breaking a sweat. You jump out, jump in the pool, swim outside, boom, jump out of the pool, do what you got to do, roll around in the snow, do some jumping jacks, whatever. Jump back in. The pool is heated, so you're good. Swim back in, hop back in the hot tub, warm up again.
You think you're gonna do it, Emeroy?
I'm
Dope.
kind of down to do it.
Yeah, baby, let's go.
This is great footage.
Let's
It's
go.
gonna be
It
great
is.
vlog footage.
I want to
is.
do it,
It is,
too.
dude.
We
It
have
is.
to make sure we don't get sick. But
you'll be fine.
I think we'll be okay if we just
If
do it
he's
once.
doing it. I mean,
If we just do it, yeah,
Yeah,
I think we'll be
good.
good.
how long does that take? Like 2 minutes?
Less than that. Way less than that. You don't even want to be outside. You can do it without getting out of the pool. Like you can just swim out, stand up in the heated
then
water,
feel
and
it.
feel like from here up how cold it is, and just that like gets in you. You know what I mean? Like you
Shit.
breathe the air, you can feel the coldness in your chest.
What do you do
crazy.
once you're outside? Do you jumping jacks and then you just hop back in and swim back?
Yeah, when the temperature warms up, because right now it's like -12 right now, so I'm not gonna do this now. But when the temperature warms up, because later this week it's gonna get back up to like 20s and 30s
Yeah.
and 40s, whatnot. I'm gonna do the real like polar bear challenge where you like roll in the snow, because there's a bunch of snow up there, and I could literally lay down in a deck chair and like roll in the snow and hop back up and jump back in. Right, that's what I'm gonna do. But
Today
not
we're just gonna
It's
Stay
too cold.
tuned.
we're just gonna.
If I do that, I might die.
We're just gonna go,
Yeah.
stand up, and then swim back.
Yeah.
Then hop into the tub.
Man.
Because these are record cold temperatures, you know what I mean? And I want to be able to say,
We did
not only
something.
was I there and I went outside, I went outside soaking wet in a swimsuit and did some ill cryotherapy type shit because I'm a superhuman.
And then performed.
That'd be kind of cool.
Then
Yeah.
performed.
Then
Taught.
performed.
And my performance was better because of that.
Yeah.
Because my circulation was percolated.
All right.
It's time for the percolate. It's time for the percolate.
Stupid.
Why was I singing that today? He says percolate.
I want to hop back on real quick about what we talked about like yesterday about social media and dance. Like,
Oh, okay.
your,
Yes.
your thoughts on that? It doesn't have to like, you know, because I run social media. A lot of people, I could see both the bad and good sides. Yeah, we elaborated a lot about that yesterday. So your thoughts doesn't have to be in a particular order.
Okay. It took me a long time to even get into social media. But I think when it comes to dance and now being a part of it and using it, I use it as a tool and see how you were able to use it as a tool. I've been hired on gigs through it and things like that. I've been hit up because of things I've posted through my social media. So in that way, it's really great. But as we talked before about it, it doesn't display everything about who you are, about your life. It doesn't give a whole picture of you, even as a dancer or artist or whatever you're portraying yourself to be out there. But if you're using it as a tool and a resource to do the things that you do, that's great. But for me, I notice people look at it as, oh, that's what you're doing. Like I have sometimes many people who, based off my Instagram, will be like, oh, you're in Mexico? Oh, you're in Mexico? Oh, and I'm like, no, I'm not. I just posted that, but okay. But it becomes almost as if it's like, it's almost as if it's now like a telephone or a texting matter, and that's when it gets a little bit weird. Because I'm like, if it's not for a job, please don't assume that everything that I put out there is exactly what I'm doing. I'm not gonna share some things. Like nowadays, I try not to get too private because now I am using it as a business tool. So I don't need to show everybody what I ate for lunch, what I ate for breakfast, where I'm going on Sunday on my day off, or hey, it's my mom's birthday, or blah blah blah, this, and I don't know. It's riding a thin line for me. So I'm trying to like set some boundaries for my social media nowadays, because it's getting to be too much.
Way too much. I totally agree with that, and I feel the same way, and I've been doing the same thing. Been streamlining my Instagram accounts to just be one thing, kind of, with less personal information, just because, I use it for business. You look on there, you're gonna see my headshots, you're gonna see me dancing, you're gonna see the art projects I do, you can see the people that I am building with when it's a cool job that looks cool. And so for me, it's something that I use when I submit for an application.
Yep.
I send them all my links, and my social media is one of them. So I use that stuff to look good for work, and also for work to come to me through social media, and that's cool. But a lot of people get the wrong impression from it because that's not their account. Their account is a personal account where they show their baby and their food, and we're going bowling, That's great. That's totally cool. However, I don't like to share that much information about myself. And even when I do post stuff, it's always later after the time. Like, for example, right now we're doing school shows. I'm not going to go to a school and be like, hey, I'm here at Ridgeview Elementary in Moline, Illinois. We're here right now about to do this show. Because that's just not safe. And in general, you want to protect your information and your location so that just you don't put yourself in a predicament or compromise your own safety, because people are literally prowling these accounts, trolling them sometimes randomly, and I just do it. I don't think anybody's gonna target me or try to victimize me or anything like that, honestly, but I do it as a practice to keep my information safe and to keep my accounts more professional and more based around that, because you don't need to see my personal stuff. That's for me, my family, my friends. And when I decide to post that stuff, enjoy it. But other than that, no. And so I think too, there is a side of consuming. So what you look at, and what I have decided, I've sort of made the choice. I just want to look at positive stuff. I understand there's a lot of crazy shit going on. But you know what? Crazy stuff is always going on. And now on social media, everyone just posts it every single time. And I don't need to see all that. I need to keep my brain and my thought process clear and positive so I can continue to do positive things in the world and continue to support the youth, the culture, this movement that we're already involved in. So that's another thing. I try not to scroll through or look at stuff that's going to get me riled up and make comments, because then those people comment back and blah, blah, blah. You have this whole interaction with someone who literally may never leave their own house. You know what I mean? You got people on social media that's gonna say they run a clothing line or say they're this or that, and they are nobody. You know what I mean? And I have seen some of these things personally, like
catfishing,
really weird stuff that is so random that only happens because of this social media situation. And I just decide not to engage those people because they're of a lower vibrational frequency. And when people try to engage me, I always remove myself from that, because I don't need to be a part of your ignorant interaction. I'm sorry, but you're contributing to the opposite of evolution for human beings. You're contributing to people getting dumber and being more addicted to this inaccurate, misleading information. Okay? And that's not what I'm about. I'm about promoting positivity, peace, love, unity, having fun, hip hop culture, b-boying, and graffiti art. That's what I do.
And I love that, because it's like, even though people talk about a lot about the whole, social media is this, that, and the third, it's like how it's negatively affecting it. But people also overlook the fact that the good that social media has also done for other people as well. Because we're trying to be a stand for that, to be more than just, here's my life, or here's something I'm complaining about with the current, situation in the U.S. As humans, we have a tendency to focus on the negative, because that's what helped us survive, prehistoric ages or in the early days of being cavemen. But I think what social media has allowed for a lot of people is to really build something out of their passion as well.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if this were the 90s, like we would not have the opportunity to put ourselves out there as easily compared to now. Like we can't, like especially with all these SoundCloud artists blowing up.
Yep.
Yeah.
In the 90s, you would have had to go through like
Spotify.
you would have to go through an A&R and all that. Like so, like it's made it easy. It's given everyone an opportunity.
Yeah.
At the same time, there's the sleazeballs that try to just use it for their own benefit instead of creating.
Non-stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and that, just to piggyback on what you're saying, I want people to know, like, I'm not a person that's trying to put a blinder on to things that are happening in this world. I'm a person that if you look at what I do and what I'm promoting, I'm somebody who's doing something in real life about these things, not arguing with trolls on social media about it, because that is fucking pointless. Yeah. Okay? Once again, this person is somebody that could be in their mom's basement and never leave, or they could work for the freaking anybody, anything. You know what I mean? So I don't have time for that. What I promote is an answer through my way of life. And yeah, it's not about denying that these things are happening. Yeah. It's about taking a real action in life, not on social media, not through some heated debate with some ignorant person somewhere else. Yeah. Because let's face it, y'all, they're still gonna wake up, eat their biscuits and gravy, and go about their doing their ignorant thing, whatever it is. And it's not my responsibility to wake you up. However, if I present something to you and you are that person, and you look at that without a sort of like political or ideological spin on it, and you look at my artwork, let's say if I painted a mural, or you see me breakdancing, and you go, oh, yeah, well, that's real cool. Guess what? You just co-sign peace, love, unity, having fun, diversity, all people of all nations coming together. Subconsciously, you are accepting these things. Yeah. And that's what I'm about, is promoting that. So
so it's really about not what you're typing. Anyone can be a keyboard warrior.
Anybody can.
Anyone can also quote something from everywhere else. But it's really about actions speaking louder than words.
Oh yeah.
And then, I mean, all right, you were saying? Great. Anyway,
shut up. You see? That's another thing.
We can talk. You can jump on that after what you wanted to say about.
It's so rude. Yeah. Anyways, I was really interrupted. Going off what Gill and Emeroy have both said, I think another thing that's important is utilizing it as a tool, but not seeing it as, I guess, a scapegoat. People, I think Gill mentioned it, it's like you're portraying yourself to be a certain way, but it's not consistent with the way you actually live your life. Then in reality, you're just using it to put up a facade, and you're not keeping up with that facade. And that's unfortunate, because when people see you in person, be it if you're like a social media star, celebrity, a dancer, an artist, or whatever, you would hope that the things that you're putting out there, let's say quotes or videos or footage of you doing something like volunteering, in reality, you're not just putting it out there to let your points go up higher and make you look a certain way, when in reality, you're not doing those things. Because another thing that I've noticed being a teacher is that kids are really looking at this right now to find their icons, people that they want to emulate and not copy, but want to look to as people to follow. Yeah. So I had to have a couple of conversations with my students in which I'm like, I understand people are sharing certain things and all that, but really look into who they are. Like, as a person, have you met them yet? And if you can't meet them yet, is it consistent outside of social media, the things they do, they say, and all of that? Yeah. So I think it's really important to know even what your presence means on there, because if you don't even know what your presence means to other people, even if they're strangers, it's like it's important to know that what you're putting out there is the truth.
I think because you just reminded me of a particular like entrepreneur I looked up to. Mm-hmm. Like some real shit just came out like about him recently, about something pretty scandalous. Like he the stuff he would preach online, it was like super positive or like uplifting, but then in the back, and then in like not literally in the back, but behind the scenes, he was a sleazebag, a friend of someone who knew him.
It's a sleazebag.
A friend of his told this person like he doesn't really believe any of the stuff he's talking about.
He's just putting it out there.
Yeah, and it got him great publicity. He's a 2-time New York best-selling author.
You see, and those are the things I'm starting to notice, because when you see some people and you see what they put out there, but then you encounter them in person, and it's their words aren't consistent with their behavior. That's where the problem lies. It's like now it is a game of catfish all the time.
Yeah, it reminds me of like those TV shows, like, oh, you meet your hero and your hero is a complete asshole.
And they disappoint you.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that is important, and
that's a huge responsibility, especially if, you know, people who blow up as YouTube stars or online, it's not just where they're getting the benefit of the attention, but because of that attention, they have an impact on other people.
On their lives.
I think that's something that they don't always realize. Like, something you say, like, even like the whole Tide Pod challenge. I don't even know how that started, but like,
what is it?
The Tide Pod challenge. Have you guys heard?
No.
Did you guys hear about that?
No.
Last year that was like the biggest thing. Like, teenagers were eating Tide Pods.
I'm sorry, they were eating Tide Pods?
Yeah.
For what?
Once again, this is what I call the de-evolution of humanity.
Wait, they were eating Tide Pods. For what? Like, what was
detergent?
Detergent. Yeah, I guess
detergent.
I know. I'm just thinking they opened it and swallowed it.
Yeah.
So coming from a nurse perspective, they are poisoning themselves. Kids are poisoning themselves.
So it goes back to that, like, what, like, having that responsibility, you know, especially though, like, those who have a lot of the attention, to realize what the kind of impact that they have on, especially the kids, because the kids are on social media way more than the adults, especially kids. If they asked me a lot, because the camera, I was like, oh, you're on YouTube. Kids are watching YouTube way more than TV and Netflix. They're on YouTube and then teens are on Instagram, and then what do they see? Friggin', you know, not hating anyone who's like a model or anyone who's like, you know, doing their hustle, but, you know, that's what they see, and that's what they think they have to be in order to feel validated.
And it creates, along with that, it creates a false reality, because it's like that validates you, or people try to insult somebody who has like a successful Instagram account or who's famous just to get a response. Just that response is like, yo, I got Puff Daddy to respond to me calling him a bunch of names that ain't even true. Exactly. You know, and it's like my generation where I come from is like the beginning of the internet being very prevalent. Yeah. However, I'm from graffiti. So in graffiti, when people do stuff like that, you find them and you go to, like, you don't just find out who they are, you find out like where they work, who they're dating, who their friends are, kind of thing. And so it's like, what's better, me talking crap to you on Instagram and just having it go on forever, or if I show up at your work and then all of a sudden you're face to face with me, or if I show up when you're on a date with your girlfriend and all of a sudden you got to deal with me in person, not on Instagram, you know what I mean? Yeah. And that's some real shit. Most of these people are not ready for it all. It's like, yo, we still live in the real world. Exactly. Man. You're not living in virtual reality. You don't live on Instagram. You live here. So if you're gonna say those things about somebody, or troll somebody, or hurt somebody's feelings, or be like harassing people, you know, somebody like me will bring it straight to your face. Yep. And you don't want that. You know what I mean? Like all those things that you said, I guarantee you wouldn't say them to my face. You know what I mean? Or to the face of somebody who's representing the interest of someone that you're harassing or trolling. So, you know, don't live in that fake reality, yo. There's nothing good there for you. Live in real life, you know, and use social media to help you. I use it to help me. When I go traveling to other places, unfortunately here didn't have anybody that I could connect with, but when I go traveling to other places, like I've done cultural ambassador, arts envoys in other countries. When I went there, I linked with local artists and dancers because I met them on Instagram. And I said, yo, I'm coming out there. I'm going to be doing some wall productions. We're going to be doing some dance practice at this or that place. Or this, you know, show up and meet us. Show up and meet up with us. You know what I mean? And it has worked amazingly well. And it also enhanced my program and made me look better in front of the embassy and the people that are hosting me, because it's like I gain resources that way. You know, when I go, I have all my resources lined up as far as this is where we can buy all the paint for our program. This is where we can get these materials for our program. We can go and do a mural at this place on our day off, and other things like that. So for me, I think it's a tremendous tool. It's very powerful, but it's like light and dark. You got to make sure you're staying on the light side of it, because the dark side of it, it's not just, you know, looking at a fucked up video of someone getting killed or whatever. It's like letting that information affect you and turning into a negative type of person by consuming that. You know, you don't want to consume that. Think about that. You are your thoughts.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Your thoughts reflect what you're going to go and act out in real life. And if you're thinking about all this dark stuff, it's not good for you. You know, we have to change the world by being positive and supporting each other. You know what I mean? And promoting positivity in this world and getting along. Sorry, my hands are cold.
I was like this, but he's right.
No, like, yeah, I 100%.
Don't feed yourself that darkness.
Like the whole thing about whatever you're feeding your thoughts, it's like literally when this meme I saw about your diet, not just what you're eating, it's what you're intaking.
It's your mind, body, and soul.
Yeah. Kassy, you want to expand your experience with the guys here?
They want me to
Poor
expand
Kassy.
on my experience.
Just to give you guys some context, she's the only
With the guys
woman here for this particular like
Sunday,
residency.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
So, what's
Guys.
your experience among you know the Y chromosome?
So I was comparing it to this movie that Mel Gibson was in, What Women Want, and there's a new one coming out with Taraji P. Henson, which she got a star on in the Walk of Fame, by the way. I'm proud of her. And she's gonna be in a new movie called What Men Think.
Or What Men Want.
What Men Want.
I think
Maybe
it's
it's
literally the sequel.
It's like the next part to it, and I feel like I've gotten an insight into
Any valuable insight
how men think and communicate
about this particular any insight?
I mean, I already know that. Like, I have a brother, but like, I don't have. I'm not around him as much, and I feel like I used to have a good hold on like how guys think. Like maybe back in my college days and high school days, I used to kick it with a lot of guys. But I think over these past couple of years, I've just surrounded myself with a lot of like women. And so being here with 3 guys in the same company has been interesting because I noticed like the contrast. I mean, I see similarities too, but I'm noticing the contrast, which it isn't bad. We just think differently. We communicate differently, but maybe we're on the same like wavelength.
Like how
we're just talking about it like
the texts
in different ways. Yeah, like one of our company members is sick right now, so he couldn't be down here. And I noticed the way Emeroy responded to him, and then I responded to him in like so many words, and all he said was, "Yeah, for shiz."
Yeah, I feel better, sexy.
But that's just the way I am, and I said this whole thing.
However, you gotta understand there's a polarity between human beings, and the thing is that just like you said, you responded in so many words.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes because Emeroy is a person who communicates very precisely by using a medium to small amount of words. I'm like you. I'm a big mouth. I talk a lot.
Yeah.
Right. That's my thing. But sometimes people like us, we overwhelm other people and they don't have a lot to say to us because we already said way too much.
Yeah.
So it's like a polarity. I feel like sometimes when people want to talk to me a lot or do what I call talking at me, where they're just giving you their energy
like
straight to your face. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like spraying you and you're soaking wet with words or with verbal diarrhea and you're like, somebody give me a towel. I'm covered in shit.
Verbal diarrhea.
You don't feel like engaging. It makes you not feel like engaging. You know, so to me, I think of it as a polarity. Like when somebody is showing that strong polarity of talking, it makes you kind of go, okay, I think I'll go have some pizza. You know, it makes you want to tone it down because sometimes it's too much.
Yeah, like now we're gonna bounce off something because I just realized Gill was talking about, and you also like we're talking about taking care of the self off camera.
Oh, self-care.
Yeah, we're older dancers. We're not like 21 and 18-year-olds going ham without warming up. How has, you know, I guess the value of warming up, taking care of your body, nutrition, how has the importance of that flipped everything? You know what I mean? So like for me, proper warming up has been huge. Doing therapy workouts for my back has been huge. Especially what I eat. I remember this one Antics performance. I ate a whole box of spicy pad see ew.
Oh my gosh.
An hour before, worst mistake of my life. Because I had an ulcer throughout the whole show.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it shows in the performance. Because one part I was supposed to jump, and then I go, and then Amy was like, "Oh my God, Emeroy, what was that?"
Oh my
and then
Oh my god.
And I'm
And
like,
it was just a jump.
yeah. And then Amy was like, was that the night? Oh yeah, that's when you got your ulcer. So
Oh
yeah.
no.
Yeah, so that's where it's like I mean, I knew before, but it was just like, we're out. I've been craving pets to you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead. So
Yeah.
how have you guys started switching your taking care of yourself nutritionally, mentally, physically?
Yo, I went through a huge shift, paradigm shift in my nutrition. I've always been pretty like physically fit and conscious of the mechanics of my body and the state of my body. But then the nourishment and nutrition added a whole new dimension to that. So I had a situation where my toxic lifestyle was caused me to go through a change in my mentality and my emotions, and I started getting really bad anxiety and a little bit of depression at one point in time. And at that time, I used that as a paradigm shift. I literally started meditating every day. I started reading books about consciousness, building up your self-worth and your inner universe, if that's the right word. I don't know. Books like The Power of Now, The Secret, The Alchemist.
Oh, great book.
You know what I mean? Just a lot of books along those. I started writing every day, writing down everything, writing all my dreams. And I also changed my nutrition, and I also stopped, at that period of time, stopped smoking weed and drinking alcohol. But at that moment is where I really gathered a lot of very helpful information that I still continue now. So there's a philosophy in Eastern culture and Eastern medicine called yin and yang. Most people are familiar with this, but it's very deep, and I have a couple close friends that are practitioners of Eastern medicine and acupuncture that really helped me during this time. Shout out to my close friend Andrew Ng. He's a dancer also, but he's also a martial artist and a healer. So he gave me so much helpful information, and is really to understand that I had an imbalance in my yin and yang, and I was too hot. That's very much my personality. I'm very hot. People always, when somebody's close to me, they always touch me and they're like, oh, you're so hot, I'm cold, and stuff like that. Not right now because we're in the freezing ass cold, but and I'm typically a person that gets warmed up and sweats a lot, and my face turned red, and I love like salty foods, spicy foods, garlic, jalapenos, stuff like this that's really hot, and I had to realize how to balance that out, and also how that feels in my body when I'm too hot. Which I could have them switched, but I think it's a yang deficiency and a yin. I don't know. I can't remember which is which, but I know it's hot and cold. So I learned a lot of those foods that you can identify that helps bring you back to balance when you're too hot. And so for me, that's tremendous. Also acknowledging your body and the physical condition that you're in when you're about to dance or perform is very important. I'm 36 years old. I've been through ACL replacement, surgery, and physical therapy, and all that, and come back to breakdancing at the age of 33. You know what I mean? So like that is tremendous for me. And that time, that like 2-year span when I was unable to break full out, was a huge time of contemplation and change in my life. And when I started dancing again, it was like this revelation of how much I love dance and how deep of a connection I have to it, and how great it is for me in my life. And it's like after that, I feel like I got so much better. I felt so much better about it, and I really became empowered by knowing that this is my path, and this is like so deeply a part of me, and my path with it is so much more powerful because of that. So whatever your age, whatever your level of physical fitness, nutrition, whatever that is to you, always analyze that. I have some friends, I got one friend, this guy's a personal trainer, a model, a dancer, all that stuff. This guy's yoked. As long as I've known him, he's always had a perfect body. But he can go eat McDonald's every day and get a McRib, and then go after that and eat biscuits and gravy, and his body will always be perfect. That's just his
genetics,
physiology, what he has.
Genetics,
That's what he's working with. I'm not working with that. Okay? So I have to realize what works for me. Some people want to eat white rice every day. Some people want to eat bread and donuts and bagels and stuff like that every day. I'm neither of those. I have to have a balance. That's just how my body works. And I encourage everybody out there, learn about yourself and your body. When you start to feel that thing in your gut, when your stomach goes, and then when you take wicked shit, know what caused that. think about that. What did I eat? What made that happen? You know what I mean? Was it too much coffee or was it McDonald's? You know what I'm saying? Like, what was it? And analyze that and analyze how that's working through your body. So that was a really long answer, but this is, I'm really glad you asked that because it's something I feel very deeply about.
Yeah,
so
it is.
Yeah,
or if you can't go and you're constipated.
That's a whole other thing.
That's a whole nother thing.
No,
too.
no.
Some coffee and you'll be okay.
Yeah, yeah, figure that out. Similar to him, it's the same thing. I think I went through a major shift, and it's not to say I was unaware of these things, because obviously I had nursing education, so I did have that advantage. But sometimes going into when you're thinking about physical fitness or just movement in itself, you're thinking, oh yeah, it's gonna take care of me. I'm so young, nothing's gonna hurt me. My knees are gonna be good. I'm gonna have all that energy forever. And then people tell you, oh, the older you get, things are gonna get worse. It's true to a certain degree, only if you stop caring.
Yeah.
So I think I went through a phase where I did stop caring, and I thought the answer to all my problems was just to dance all the time. And that's not how you're just going, for me, for my body, how I'm just gonna stay physically fit. And so I've come into this space where I'm returning back to what my version of health and fitness looks like, because I feel like I even allowed others' perceptions of what health and fitness look like gauge what I was gonna do in my life. So for me, it's like, it's very important now to know what it is that I'm eating, what I'm staying away from eating, what I'm putting into my body before performances, after performances.
And that pats you.
Yeah. And definitely knowing that I need to stretch before and after, and knowing things like he talked about it earlier, like your own version of cryotherapy or your own version of yoga. So, because even if I can't get into a yoga class, I understand that some version of stretching and doing yoga poses is going to help me to elongate my muscles and still maintain that flexibility that's needed in movement.
Yeah.
And whether that be before or after, I need to lift some weights, to build a muscle. So it's like putting all these practices into my everyday life, but seeing how I can balance it and structure it into my life so that it's a daily habit, a weekly habit, a monthly practice, and then an overall just way of life. And not just thinking I need to do it right now. I just need to prep for the gig for 3 months because I'm gonna do this show. And then after the show is over, okay, cool, eat whatever you want, do whatever you do. No, knowing that it goes beyond just being a dancer. It's just longevity.
Yeah.
If you see longevity, how do you want to feel beyond just being a dancer? So I think all that stuff I am now putting into my life slowly but surely, and making sure that I maintain it and not just have it be like just the answer for right now, or just this year, it's a new year, new me. Like, no, I want to maintain it in my life. And I think what it starts with too is definitely your mentality, your mindset, and knowing why. Know your why of why you want to do this. If you're doing it because of just the way you look, well, then that's all you're gonna get. It's just the way you look. But if you're doing it for mind, body, and soul, you are going to go through a whole transformation of self.
Yeah.
If you understand that the reason why you're thinking about all these things is more than just your physical appearance. It's your inner, your outer. It's how you're affecting those around you. So if I'm eating healthy and I'm noticing what I'm eating consciously, people around me are gonna be aware of it and ask questions and maybe want to now make conscious changes in their eating habits. And if I am instead of getting like full of anxiety, let's say before I go out for a show, instead I'm working on like deep breathing and going into a positive mental space. Someone around me or the energy around with like my other company members, they're gonna feel that as well and maybe want to put that into practice for themselves. So it's more than just a right now type of a thing. It's understanding what you need to do for your longevity and how you want to do it for the everyday for your own self, right? And knowing that you are impacting others while you're doing it. And I think that's important. So I don't know. I don't want to say what I do or what he does is going to be good for everybody. But I would say it's really about listening to your own self. What do you need for your body?
Right.
What do you need for your mindset? What do you need for your soul? And figuring out how to put that into your life on the regular.
I want to talk quickly about self-talk. About like, you know, when you get a win and when you get a loss.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because some people, they're like, they get a win, they're like, that's not it. On to the next one. They don't really acknowledge the victories or, you know, bask in, they're always on, and sometimes, you know, that they never really celebrate it. Or some people who experience the loss, they experience the loss hard. So like, what are the things that you tell yourself when you win and when you lose?
Oh, that's a great question.
That's a really good question, yeah.
For me, when I win, I really try to look at the circumstances of what did I win and how, why, and how does this affect me? And usually it's very positive, and it's also something you can learn from that win. You know, like I'll give you an example. The last time that I won a battle with my break crew, Concrete All Stars, we went in this jam. It was like from the second we stepped in the jam, we were meant to win. Like we walked in there, we all had matching gear on. We looked like a break crew, and this is a jam, which is a new generation type of event. We were older than most people there, okay? But we went in there, we showed them what's up.
Yeah.
Meaning that we embodied this culture of b-boying. You know what I mean? We came in with the matching joints with our names on it, with our crew name on the back. We came with routines that we knew we could strategize because I worked with these guys so many times doing these same routines, and we do it like with finesse and with happiness in our hearts because we love this dance. So it was like, to me, I know that us winning that jam was very natural. We really didn't have much competition going into that, and it was a good thing for us to do. You know what I mean? So that's sort of like the lesson I took from that win. And when I lose, I do the same thing. I'll be like, why did we lose? What happened? What can I learn from this? And even if it's a really grueling defeat, you know, one of my biggest defeats was when I blew out my knee.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? I blew out my knee on stage in this arena in Duluth, Georgia, in front of like 8,000 people, and literally screamed like, ah! Like it hurt physically and it hurt emotionally, and it was very scary because in my mind I'm like, what am I gonna do after this? You know what I mean? So, however, I had to go inside and really think, why did this happen? What did I do to make this happen? Because I made that happen. You know what I mean? And I didn't take good enough care of my body. I was kicking it too much and not taking enough physical care of my body. I wasn't listening to my body. I wasn't standing up for myself enough as a performer. That's another thing, because a lot of dancers and a lot of performers, you know, our mentality or our bringing is to go, just do it. You got this. Let's go. Yeah. And sometimes you got to stop and say, no, hold up. Wait, I can't do this right now. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so that was the problem I had with that particular show, was I was already injured. There was already a torn ligament in my knee. But they didn't let me stop. And what I should have done is put my foot down and said, no, I'm not doing this. Yeah. Right? So that's a big challenge for a lot of performers. Me personally, usually I'm very good at that. And this was just a time when I should have pushed it harder, and I should have pushed my own physical fitness, physical therapy, and recovery harder. But unfortunately, I had to take that L, and when I took it, I turned it into a huge positive because I used it as an excuse to learn everything about this injury and how to rehabilitate it so I could get back to dancing 100%. And I used it as I call it like a wounded soldier, wounded warrior mentality, because I'm like, I'm still gonna do what I'm gonna do, but I have to adapt my activity around this. And I can't deny it. I fell into a very negative space during that time. You know what I mean? Like, think about it, dude. I've been breaking and doing graffiti. I've been active my whole life. Even since a little kid, I was always really wild and really physical, and like always got to do something very physical of myself. And to take that, a person like me, and be like, lay down and ice your knee all day, watch a movie, just chill. I can't do that. I cannot fucking do that, right? Yeah. So it's like, guess what I did? I drank a lot. You know what I mean? I smoked a lot of weed, and that's just being honest with you. Like, that's one thing where I'm like, if I do this, I'll be able to chill as long as I want. But that's not good for your body. It's not good for your mind. It's not good for recovering and rehabilitating yourself, because those things are gonna be basically slowing you down. You know, more so than alcohol than the weed, in my opinion. But that was a huge challenge, and I had a lot, and it was just a huge life lesson, ongoing, continuing. Not only that, I was on workman's comp for 2 years while I was healing up, and that is its own continuing life lesson, because workman's comp is ruthless. They drop you. They'll drop you. You collect a paycheck every week, which is dependent upon your follow-up. All you have to do, go to every doctor's appointment, submit every piece of paperwork, follow up with every single person, including your physical therapist. And I did that to a T. I was at every appointment on time. Got the thing signed by my doctor, sent it straight to my case manager every single time. Same thing with physical therapy. And I learned along that time that not only did they try to just intentionally drop you sometimes and make it look like an accident, which they did. It's like, yo, my paycheck didn't come this week. Talking to my case manager. My paycheck didn't come this week. What's going on? And they go, oh, looks like your name was dropped from the system. I'm sorry. We'll just put all your info back in, and next week you'll get 2 paychecks. And it's like, oh, okay, great. So you're checking if I'm even following up, basically.
Wow.
And then not only that, they also spy on people. And they do stuff to catch people and film them and record them, spying on them to bump them off of your health coverage and your workman's comp benefits. Because you know, I was on it for 2 years, collecting a paycheck every week. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So for that company and those businesses, sometimes they want to be like, this guy looks healthy. Let's see if he's really injured. Put a $20 down, a $20 bill down on the ground in front of his apartment building. When he comes down, if he bends down to pick it up, you know, Odyssey in and of itself taught me a huge lesson about life. Like so many lessons. And that's what I'm trying to get to. When you take an L, take a minute and sit back, let that frustration settle and think, why did this happen? What did I do? How did I do this? Because, yo, frankly, you probably did it in some way. You know what I mean? You did. And if you want to get better and you want to recover and come back past that, what can you do to get past that? And to say, if I was to walk into this same situation and change the outcome, what would I do? And go forward from there.
Yeah.
What are you, Cass?
So with wins, it feels really good at the time, right? But I think now in this day and age, we tend to be in this like fast-paced society where we, like you said, tend to go on to the next one. And so sometimes you're winning, and then you get to a point and you finally get to a loss, but you forget about all the wins you've had up until this point to get to the loss. And I think something I'm learning to do is to really enjoy the win. Write down how you feel. Know, it's almost like observing and taking notes, like figure out how you got there. What are the steps that got you to the win? Like, so that you can win again. In regardless of whatever you're doing, be it a competition or, oh, I got to this country today, or hey, we're on this residency today. To me, like right now, this experience is a win. And so something that I've been trying to do, which I try to think about because I don't think I did that enough as a kid and teenager and young adult, is to really just get grounded into the win and understand and feel good about it and be proud of what it took me to get here. So for me, like doing this first residency, everything's like paid for, and we're getting to do what we love to do, inspire the young generation. It's like I want to remember this forever and enjoy this win and always know how I got to this point. How did I get here? So that I can continue forward to try and get other wins, as I continue. Now, when it comes to the losses, I want to say the same thing. Something that I did, that's my behavior, I tend to just be like, okay, I lost, okay, move on. I don't really go through the emotional cycle of it. I'll just try and like, move on. Let me get to the next challenge. It's like almost like in denial. So something I've worked hard to try and do is just to feel the loss. And like he said, it's like if you're losing. Like one recent loss I had was last year. I was in a video for this like South African artist, and again, it was like a gig that I got off social media, but I felt like I hadn't been doing enough of the work that I used to do as far as like being on camera and dancing on camera. So I didn't see at the end of the day when the shot was released on Vivo or whatever, I'm like, oh man, where's my freestyle clip? And I'm thinking, man, they probably didn't like it. And I'm thinking back into it and I'm thinking, well, I was out of breath. I didn't even do as well as I could have on my freestyle. Prior to even being booked on the shoot, was I going over my material? Was I doing the work that I needed to do in that style of dance? Or was I just basing it off all the previous wins and being like, oh yeah, I deserve this. And then now I get to this loss, but I'm forgetting all the steps it took to get to the win, which is why they noticed me in the first place to book me.
No, like the racking of the W's made you feel entitled?
Exactly. It's like a sense of entitlement. And so it's like you have to revel in the wins and the losses and take notes on both so that you know what you want to continue doing, what you don't want to do, and how do you learn from the things you did do that didn't get you to the win, but it kept you in that loss.
Yeah.
You know, but you want to really stay grounded in the loss. Don't put it in denial, like feel it, take the notes, and then figure out how you can transform it, how you can fix it so that you can get a win. Or even if it's not a complete win, how do you get up from that level of where you were at? If we were doing like a scale of 0 to 10, if you were really at a level of 2, how do I at least change a step or add a step to get to the level 3? So I say, yeah, really taking into consideration what it means to win and lose, and knowing the steps that it took to get to both so that you can pick and choose.
Yeah, I think one thing that we kind of bypassed, which was in his question about self-talk, is that you got to understand this perspective that we're both giving is we both have very high self-esteem, and we both have like very positive self-talk already.
Yeah.
I didn't really mention that, but my thing is like I believe so much in myself and what I do that when people ask me what I do, I want to tell them I'm a superhero because that's how I see myself.
Yeah.
If that sounds conceited, you know, that's whatever, but I don't mistreat people badly or look down on anyone else because of that. That's what I think, and I think everybody else has that capacity and is to be their own superhero as well. So my self-talk is very positive.
Yeah.
When I get up every day in the morning, I look up and I go, I'm alive. Thank God.
Yep. Grateful.
You know, you have to be grateful. You have to be positive about who you are. And so I think we kind of bypass that because I know for a lot of people that maybe don't feel that way about themselves, it's crucial, man.
It's hard.
You got to appreciate yourself.
First,
Appreciate yourself, who you are and what you're doing, and really shift into that and really loving yourself, because you will see that you are worth it and you deserve it. And when you feel that way, you bring that same vibration to other people, and you also receive it more readily from them, and you can see it coming from them instead of being insecure about who you are and insecure about the other people around you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So self-talk is very important, and it's very important to love yourself and be positive about who you are and what you're doing in life.
Yeah. I'm gonna do a bathroom break real quick, but I think one of the things that that's super important, just based off what they're talking about, is look at me, I'm on the dark side right now.
I know, and then like I'm getting complete
I'm gonna have to fix this in post.
Emeroy.
Super white.
And I'm like glowing out here, like.
So like
You are glowing.
Glowing.
are you pregnant?
No. Emeroy, focus on the.
So anyways, I think one of the things
That's what it is to be with antics men.
that's
In a sentence.
that's kind of important is, you know, there's the self-talk is important, the self-esteem is important, especially for those of you who feel like you don't have it because you had a tough upbringing, you were bullied a lot, and shit, I was bullied a lot growing up, which is one of the reasons I got a temper that really affected me negatively in my adulthood. But I think that when it comes to the self-talk, I think that it starts, you know, obviously self-talk's talking how you talk about yourself. And I think that can start. The common thing is like it's very funny to be self-deprecating. So like I'm too short to be doing this.
Yeah.
Like, even though it's a joke, your physiology, your mentality doesn't know the difference.
Yeah.
It's gonna start believing and you'll start seeing, you know, what you focus on. You know, that's where energy goes.
Yeah.
And then that self-talk has to start with how you say certain things every single day. It's within the language of how you say things. Like, I'm never gonna be that. You're right. You're never gonna be that because you just said it and kind of put it out there in the universe. There's that whole saying, like, you know, if you whether you think you can or can't, you're right. Same thing with yourself. How you say yourself. Like, instead of saying, you know, I'll never be that. I can't be that yet, but I will be. It's a simple thing. One of my friends told me the most life-changing thing I ever said to her was, we were at rehearsal. She's like, "Oh my God, I hate my life right now. Like, I hate my life." And I told her, like, at this very moment, you hate it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're completely denouncing everything good that's happened in your life. So the languaging is super important. It's something that we overlook in terms of how we talk to ourselves. I mean, because we're running constant scripts of our upbringing. Like how your parents viewed you, your teachers, your cousins, and then a lot of the things we think about ourselves aren't exactly true. Because when there's a point when we were kids that we were more confident than most adults.
Yep.
And then, you know, then it gets buried and hidden by the scripts and the language from other adults trying to protect you because they're doing their best, but it didn't necessarily serve you for this journey of life.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of like unlearning those scripts and being self-aware, like, which is why I love what Gill said about journaling, because it helps tracking. And I'm very big on the saying, what gets tracked, what gets measured gets managed. So if you're able to be aware of the thoughts that come in, that can help you track of, okay, you become aware of what's holding you back, and then you can change it. For me, when I was, I think, going through therapy and trying to help manage my anger a lot better, a lot of it, this is one of my favorite things, like when and it had to be super simple, I would journal it with my left hand, and I was like, I felt this because, and it was like almost, not only, it was activating like almost me like as the inner child.
Yeah.
And then on the right side, I would have to be the adult and see how I would heal myself from that.
That's wow.
So, and it was like, that shit was transforming.
That's really
That's awesome.
So then, and like, it's creative in a sense, and also, again, measuring it, and then you start seeing the patterns in your life. And a lot of people are unaware of the patterns that are constantly, you know, in cycle, and then, you know, and then they wonder why their life's not any better, because they're they're stuck in a pattern that they're unaware of, sort of the matrix, so to speak. So, bathroom break.
Deep.
Yeah. We're able to have the conversation of understanding that we have it inside of us. Everybody has it inside of them. Sometimes people aren't able to tap into that power per se. And I think sometimes it is like what you mentioned. Your friend was affected by you, but all you had to do was say something about it. So it can sometimes be about the environment. So if you have to take yourself out of situations and patterns in which your society, the society that you choose to be in, is not. I guess I'll take it as if it's a garden. You are a garden. So if you're not tending to your garden and the things around you, there's weeds, and you got to pluck the weeds. You got to take it out. So you got to take out the weeds and take away the things that don't serve you best, and put the things that do serve you. And if you aren't able to tap into it, sometimes it's not a matter of fake it to make it, but you have to learn the process. Like for me, a lot of it was reading. I think he mentioned it earlier in another question, like the books you read. Like I had to read about my soul and my spirit to really start to get connected into it, because I had been like systemized so much so that I felt like I was disconnected from my own self, my own wants and needs. And I was basing it off what people say or society says, things around me are saying what's important. So I had to read things like, I don't know, The Power of Intention. He mentioned a great book, The Alchemist, that we talked about before. In order to start exposing myself, and then also gain things from friends and people that I'd be around that are good for my environment, that could nurture my progress and my growth. So learning things like listening to motivational speeches, or being around people that do think positively about themselves. So it then inspires you to want to think the same way about your own self.
Yeah.
So I think that's important, knowing that your environment is also a way that you can learn, you know?
Yeah. I mean, You guys were talking about books. I want like, I guess, a quick round on that. Like, the book that changed your life. Like one nugget that you got from it. So mine was. Oh
Damn.
my God. That was
Yeah.
for me, it was the 4 agreements.
Oh yeah.
Don't take anything personally.
Yep.
I read that one, how everything is, everyone's just a reflection of their own inner workings. That was one of the most powerful things I've ever read, or like a huge, I guess, a paradigm shift in how I would react to how other people's reacting, so to speak. Because then that started that took my reactions or my temper to like even less, like, because then I started taking less things personally.
Yeah.
And then because I used to be like, a lot of my friends who've known me for a long time told me like they felt like they had to walk on eggshells around me because they didn't know what upset me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
For me, I have a lot of newer books that I could say, self-help books, spiritualist books that are about, self-actualization and realization and all this stuff. But my favorite books that influenced me are the ones that I read when I was a kid. And I have to say that probably one of the biggest influences is the author. His name is Roald Dahl.
Heck yeah.
And a lot of his books have become movies that people love, like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, BFG, James and the Giant Peach, Fantastic Mr. Fox. Those are just a few. There's lots more. And the guy's work is deep. It's really deep, and it's very much about coming forward as an underdog and finding your natural talent and power and coming into power through fantastical circumstances, which is how I feel about my life. So for me, that's a huge thing. Roald Dahl, that author, and the influence is very subliminal as well. So it's something that it's hard for me to put into words. It's just a feeling, and it's a part of my personality at this point. Another one which is huge for me, it's a comic book. Comic books have always been a huge influence for me. Even now, I still read comic books. But I watched the anime of it as a really young kid, like 10 years old. And then when I got older, I started collecting comics. I basically collected like every issue of this comic, and it's called Akira.
Akira.
The author is called Katsuhiro Otomo, and it's a very influential anime for people of my generation, of the sort of like first generation of anime coming to America and becoming popular. This is literally called a cult classic, this anime. So watch that anime. If you get a chance and you're into graphic novels and comics, definitely check out any of the Akira comics. They come in big, thick comics now. Originally, I think it was like a comic book size like that, and then they've compiled them into these big, thick ones. And I used to have all of them, and I lost all of them somehow. But that manga is so deep, and it's all about human evolution and the fact that human evolution is not a physical process, but it is a physical process, but what's superseding that process is the spiritual evolution and the evolution of human consciousness. And you're seeing that as the thing which manifests in everything physical, so it's that which is higher. So I don't know if that's the best description of it, but I love that, and I happen to feel that what is detailed in that manga, because it takes place in the future, is actually taking place now in our world as we see it happening now. So it's pretty deep. It's pretty deep, and I love it, and it's always given me great confidence to think about it as like, no, the world we're living in now is similar to this world I've already have knowledge of from these comics that I read, and I'm one of these people that's my consciousness is expanding, and I have to be a positive influence through that. So those are some good books for you to check out. Even though they're comic books, kids' books.
These comic books are
They're
so great.
still, yeah.
I used to want to be a comic book artist when I was in
Oh, yeah?
grade. Yeah, I drew comic books, and they got featured in my school library.
Oh, that's awesome.
I was like
cool.
obsessed with making comics.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I did that in school too.
Yeah.
I mentioned it earlier. The Power of Intention by Dr. Wayne Dyer. That was
Wayne Dyer's great.
yeah, and he's a great author. So many books, but that book specifically I found at the Rose Bowl swap meet at a pivotal time in my life. It literally was the summer that I ended up quitting my job, and so I think at that time I was just going through a whole transformation of my life and the things I'm thinking about. And one thing that I really took away was a sentence that I still say to this day, and I try to say it all the time, is you have to know that things are not just happening to you. You have to know that you are allowing things to happen to you, or you can make things happen for you. It's up to your mindset and how you see it. Because if all you see is a dire situation, then that's all that situation is going to be. Now, if you see a time, an opportunity of possibility, now all these doors are going to open up, and now you're going to see the different ways that your life can go.
Yeah.
So one sentence that I got from that book, and I still use it to this day, I think I wrote it and put it in my wallet, put it everywhere, put it in my mirror, put it in my push pin board, was I'm ready and willing to accept the unlimited abundance that the universe wants to give me. And that means that I know that there's an endless amount of ways that my reality can go, and I know that I, by being open to it, can allow these possibilities to actually flourish and become my reality as I go through my life.
Yeah.
And I don't need to just wait for things to happen to me or just allow things to happen to me. I can allow my mindset to show me the doors. Even if it appears that all the doors are closed, there will be a key somewhere. So yeah, that was one sentence. And then as of late, right now, I read a lot of books, but one thing that I've gotten back to is actually reading my journals and poetry that I wrote like since I was like 7. So, and it's a source of inspiration now too, because I read what I wrote when I was a kid, and you mentioned that, like, if you can read back to things, you can see like, oh man, like where was my mentality? Like what was I being exposed to? But at the same time, I also see that when I was 16, I low-key was a genius. I was already talking about things that I now at 30 am being exposed to, but somehow, some way, I was writing poetry about it at 16. And so that's major for me to read it now, because I'm like, oh man, if I was thinking this way and rhyming in this way back then, imagine now, after all these years of experience, where my mind and what my pathway can be, you know, now that I have this experience, the years, the access, the adulthood to utilize. And so like reading my old journals reminds me that there are other kids out there at this level, and they have these creative ideas, but maybe are lacking the mindset. So maybe in my adult life, I am needing to read it to know that I can help these young kids thrive with the creativity they already have, and allow them to see the doors that maybe they don't see because of their age, or maybe because of the insecurity or lack of confidence that we sometimes, have at a young age. So reading about it and in my own words is like crazy, and helping now to know to like keep me going down my path and my purpose. So, yeah.
All right, I think last question. Excuse me. Say you're 80 years old, 90 years old, you're on your deathbed. What's the one message that you would want to leave to make an impact? Not maybe on your friends, family, or even the world.
Wow, that's deep.
Yeah.
That's really deep. The one message, this is just off the top of my head. When I'm 80, I'm sure I'll have something much more deep to say.
Yeah.
But I will just say, go outside the box. If you know what that means, or if you can understand that metaphor, and go first with love. So that's it. Go outside the box, and when you take, they say put your best foot forward. Make that step a loving step. That's my 80-year-old deathbed advice. But my deathbed's gonna be like 115.
I was changing my age
by that
too.
time, my consciousness will have expanded so much
275.
later that I'll have something much more profound to say.
Exactly.
So that's just, for right now, off top, that's what I got. Boom.
Right? I was going to change my age to 103. I really think it's 103 for me. I've been saying that for a long time too. But I think right now, what I think I would say as of right now is to listen to your heart, listen to your own inner voice, and allow that to guide you. Allow that to guide you. But truly tap into it, into you, into the core of you, and allow that to guide you. Yeah.
Dope.
What's yours? Yeah, I was like, you asked us. I was like, I want to hear it.
Did I ever ask? No, I haven't answered this. This is actually the first time I've ever asked this question.
Oh,
on
really?
Roundtable, yeah. So, I think the most important thing is who you are in the process is much more important than what you achieve. I think that's so much. I think because it's reigned true for me for a lot of years so far, because there have been a lot of moments in my life where I let ambition blind me, that I lose sight of what's important. I stop to the point where I get agitated when I'm supposed to be spending time with loved ones, or when I just feel anxious all the time and I'm not present with anyone. And and then I compare it to times where I'm successful and with people, and versus when I'm successful, I achieve something, but I have no one to share it with.
Yeah.
And then, so that's why you can, at the end of the day, this is one of the things when I first started doing this entrepreneurship journey, it was like I would have a vision in my head with how I was currently, and I would see myself alone in an office where I would be successful, but alone.
That was your vision.
So, and that's why I felt like is this what you want? Because if you keep doing this, it was like this inner voice. Because this is what's gonna happen if you're not spending time with the people you love.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like, I feel farther from the vision now, but back then, 2014, 2015, I felt that was the route I was heading, because who I was being was, I was driven, but I was a driven jerk to everyone. It was inspiring, but it wasn't exactly inspiring to my loved ones, because I was working all the time. And then that's one of the reasons where it's a series of habits I've tried to figure out, how do I get all this amount of work I need to get done, and then also spend time with family to be a good dad. And that's super important to me, because I wasn't, the actions I was taking wasn't aligned with being a good dad, or aligned with being a good fiance at the time. And then that engagement broke off because of those actions. So which is what led to now. But I still get to be a good dad. I still get to be a good example for my son.
That's what's up.
So that's where it's like, who you are in the process is much more important than what you achieve, because you don't want to be alone. And that's why I enjoy this, because when we're on stage at the end of that show, or at the end of those assemblies, that shared success is much more satisfying than doing it by yourself. Because then we can kind of talk about it. It's like the whole social aspect of being human. So I try not to cry.
I could feel it, Emeroy. I could tell,
Because my ambition is what got me so mad and driven mad that it got me into jail.
No way.
Yeah.
Fuck.
With the anger issues?
Domestic violence or what?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
But sometimes,
That transformed everything for me, because when I was in my jail cell, I wasn't by myself. I was by myself. I had no one. So I was essentially, the whole, I was kind of in solitary, but more of you're by yourself. You're in your thoughts. You're in all these things. And then I got to a point where I was like, how did I get here? And how do I never get here again? And I was trying to take responsibility, and then, obviously getting into really, then court, obviously saying 52 weeks anger management, 52 weeks domestic violence classes, 52 weeks parenting classes. I was like, fucking give it to me, because I don't ever want to come back here. Because and then that was all that's the part that kind of frustrated me, and seeing other people's this is your chance to get better. But instead some people were playing victims, such and such, my wife tried to do this. Like, oh, the police officer played it against me. It might be true because I don't know their story, but yeah, like this is, it was my opportunity to get better and, kind of reflect on how I was approaching my version of entrepreneurship. Yeah.
Interesting.
Anyways, yeah, that's like I don't share that a lot.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah.
So, where can guys follow you guys check out your work online?
Word, you can check me out online at MRGUILLOTINE2012, Mr. Guillotine 2012. That's my main account where you see my face and my art and my dance and a lot of the jobs that I do and a lot of people that I work with and teach. I have a few other accounts for other groups that I work with, so I'm just going to recommend those. At Juice Hip Hop, that's the nonprofit that I work for. It's a long-standing open session for b-boying and b-girling in Los Angeles, and also all 4 elements of hip-hop culture. So if you're interested in training or learning or just coming around a really cool environment, it's a totally free open session. It's a nonprofit organization, and we will teach you how to break, how to DJ, how to be an MC, how to produce your own music and make your own beats and make poetry, and how to do art and be a graffiti artist or street artist or whatever you want. Come check us out. Hip hop is positivity, peace, love, unity, having fun, and that's about it for right now.
For right now.
Yeah.
Or right now. Yeah, you can check me out on my website, www.kickingitwithcass.com. Highlight a couple of the nonprofits I work for: Fusion Performing Dance Academy in East Los Angeles, as well as Plaza La Raza in Lincoln Heights. Amazing centers where kids can go and just indulge themselves in the arts, be it like painting or dance or folklorico. But yeah, all of that stuff. And Instagram is same thing at kickingitwithcass.com _before and after. And yeah.
So are you seeing how you have to keep saying _ before and after, which is why
I forgot until you mentioned that I even have underscores in it, okay?
So that's it for today's episode. If you guys liked it, make sure you hit like, subscribe, share this with friends who you think might benefit from it. Because if you guys are enjoying these roundtable talks, I mean, the whole point of this is for us to be able to kind of create an open space for us to just discuss certain topics and me kind of pick their brains about certain processes that I've always been curious about other people. So make sure you guys are also hitting the bell button so you guys are getting notifications of when content like this comes out. Thanks for watching Emeroy TV, Vision Paradox TV. This is Gill and Cass. We will catch you guys next time.
Peace.